Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Friday's unenjoyment edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day. Well, Dennis, getting a little sell-off in the S&Ps here ahead of the unemployment data. We're got a little bit above settlement there, but the market's starting to show a little weakness before the number.
Yeah, obviously the unemployment data is going to be the driver here this morning, so I think the market's just kind of a little skittish, selling off a little bit before the number here. Obviously at 8:30 we're going to know a heck of a lot more though, Joel.
Okay, 1258.75, 1 point below yesterday's high of 59.75. That whole area should be excellent resistance now. Above that, things open up to Monday's intraday high of 1267.50. If this 1258.50 holds as the high of the day, we have a downside target of 1228.50. Currently, the Globex low stands at 1246.50. If that stands as the low of the day, we have a target of 1276.50. Moving on to the Big Ten, starting with Apple Computer. Got a little boost yesterday, rallied as high as 403.04 before settling back and settling at 403.07. Good resistance there. We're currently trading $1 below that. Not much resistance after that 403.40 up to Monday's high of 409.33. Coming back on the downside, you get a couple series of higher lows, but let's use 395 an area to cover some shorts if it gets down there.
Yeah, the volatility in this stock has really been muted here for a couple of weeks now. You just wonder when it's going to break out of this range. We've been in this 391 to 409 range here for a couple of weeks, kind of trading and trending just in the middle of it. Obviously gets up to the top of that range. You could try some sells. If it starts to break over to that 410 though, then, you'd look at the breakout play. But I just continue to say the same thing. 400 remains a swing number on this, and we've got that range, Joel. It's stuck.
Yeah, it's rare for Apple. Moving on to ExxonMobil, I was able to fill that gap from Monday's sell-off, made a high at 79, peeled back to settle at 78.86. That 79 should be a real good number as far as resistance, since we're currently trading below that. Next stop after that is 80.64, which would be Monday's high. Coming back on the downside, Thursday's low at 77.44 should give you some minor support.
Same thing. We had this sell-off here. We kind of bounced just a little bit higher than the 75 area. Now we're coming and approaching that old 80 area. So I'd imagine you start to get some house sellers here in the high 79s. I see a little bit of size starting to form in the 80 area. So maybe some of those high frequency guys be in the high 79s. We're $1.50 away from there. But if we go into rally mode, if the unemployment number is good, then think about, that area as a possible shorting spot.
Okay, IBM once again lurking in the high 180s. Got to 187.78, which was close to the 5-day high of 188.07. So that 188 is going to be huge resistance. The close at 187.30 should be minor resistance. Kind of coming back on the downside. You got Wednesday's high 185.25, but better support at 184.02, which was yesterday's low.
Yeah, the stock's just looks like it's got that nice trend going. We're coming up to the old resistance 188, and then you'd have a big number at 190.53, which is the old 52-week high. We're within range of that today. If it was a good unemployment number, it could be a test up in that 190 area. Obviously, it all depends on what happens at 8:30 and which way the stocks are going to press. But for whatever reason, if we start a rally, remember that old 52-week high, 190.53.
Okay, moving on to Mr. Softy. Just made that low right under 26 yesterday, Dennis. I think we had the range on this one pretty good. Thursday's low was right below the closed. Rallied up, trying to fill those gaps in the 26.60 area. Didn't quite get there. Closed at 28.53, currently trading at 26.36. So let's use that 26.60 area as a real good resistance. Above that, we're looking at Monday's high. Coming back on the downside, things start ticking up there at the $26 level.
Yeah, it was a good call yesterday on your part, that $26 there, Joel. Obviously, that continues to remain support. And then if we can break out above, yesterday's high, that 26.60, I still think you're finding some major resistance in that 27 area.
Okay, CVX, Chevron Corporation, getting up to 106.55 after rejecting that 110 level and bouncing off 100. That 105 mid-range was awful close to Thursday's low, which is 104.70. Coming on the downside, I really don't see much support at the 104.70, and then you have a pretty steep drop down to 103.14. Coming on the upside, you bust through this 106.55 level, and we could be going back to 110.
Yeah, the 110 remains the big number. You get into the 109s, I think you're going to see sellers all over the place up there. But in here, man, this 106, you're kind of in no man's land. We just had, a 2-day run here up from 101, so I could see how it could pull back. Or, 106, I could see it going all the way to 110 too. So I'm sitting on my hands here, but if it was to get up into those 109s, I'd start to get itchy to try a short.
Okay, J&J made a high 64.52 with the close at 34. You're getting some real good support all the way from 63.41 up to 63.67, which was Thursday's low. So let's just hold that whole level 63.50. Above this 64.52, things open up until that 4 and 5 day high we've been talking about at 65.85, 86 level.
Yeah, up there, for sure, major sellers up there. That 66 guy still lurks, so you see those 80s and 90s sellers in the high 65s. I've seen a little bit of size forming at 65 itself, too, so maybe that gives you another stopping point if we went into rally mode on the stock.
Okay, our next stock, Procter & Gamble, is probably offering us our best technical formation this morning. We got a triple top in here, folks, from 63.52 to 63.60. Above that, boom, straight to 64 to fill that gap from earlier in the week. Coming on the downside, similar to J&J, you had some lows in 62.86, Wednesday's close and Thursday's low, and then Tuesday's and Wednesday's low, 62.40 to 51. So let's just hold that whole area at 62.60. But above 63.60, folks, look out. We should get a nice pop in this stock.
Joel, I couldn't agree more on this one. Above that 63.60 right, there's a 40-cent gap. So if you're looking at that place, there's trading 63.65. You got to think it's going to go up there and probably test that 64 area. Obviously, there's a little bit of size of 64. So if you do decide to play that, you may want to be selling in the 63.90s. But there's probably 30 to 35 cents to be had there if it's to get up there. And I think you got the lower range called pretty good too. That's 62.50 area.
Okay, tight range in AT&T, just trying to inch up towards Monday's high, closed at 29.44 with a 29.49 high. Can't get too excited if it gets through there. You got Monday's high at 29.65. Coming on the downside, I'd call this 29.19, Thursday's low, minor support. But below that, look for just under 29, 28.93, and the major support at 28.62.
I still like this $29 overall as some support there too. And if we were to go, we're at $29.34 trading the pre-market right now. If for whatever reason we went into rally mode today, $30 remains enormous on this. I'd expect, lots of resistance in the high 29s, 29.90s. Okay,
GE, attempted to fill that gap from Monday. Monday's close at 1671. We got up to 1669 yesterday. Currently trading a little bit below that. That 1670 is going to be huge, folks. Huge resistance. And if we get through there, 1701, which was Monday's high, should be real good resistance too. It looks like this stock is just kind of thickening up here, perhaps getting ready to go down and test Tuesday's low, which was 1597. Have some minor stopping points at the way at 1536 and 1516, but 1597 would be a real good number if we go into a sell-off mode.
Yeah, $16 remains huge support on this. Looking at the book here, I got some size at 1680. Interesting spot. Usually you see the size popping out the whole numbers, but 1680 looks to be some major size there, major resistance. So I'd expect some in the 1670s there to give you some resistance as those high frequency guys lean on that size.
Okay, Coca-Cola, Dennis, didn't quite get up to that 69 area you were talking about, that 69.05 and 69.09, the 4 and 6 day highs, the high from last week. Struggled to get up to 68.82, settled back and closed at 68.65. So look for a test of that 69 if we go into a rally mode. Coming back on the downside, the old Wednesday's close, Thursday low at the 68.01 to 68.06 level should be real good support. So 68.69 the range of Coca-Cola today.
Yeah, I'm going to limit my comments. I do have a position on in Coke. The only thing, though, I would like to talk just quickly, I know we don't do this in the Big Ten show, but Pepsi, just a stock. I'm looking at $63 on this. It's huge size there. I don't remember seeing that there yesterday. See it there today, though, at $63. So I see 170,000 shares up there. So I'm not sure if that's real or if that's just, but if that is real, you'll see some major resistance on Pepsi in the 62.90s. So that's my tip, getting away from the Big Ten a bit there.
That's okay, Dennis. It's allowed. Okay. All right. Currently trading 12.50.50. 12.52 will be our swing number in the SPUs this morning. Should get a lot of activity off this number. Dennis, any feeling for the direction of the number or the reaction?
Man, I think you're going to get a spike, and it's one of those, I feel like it's going to be one of those numbers that spikes one way and then goes the other, like a fake out, head fake right off the bat. Sometimes you see these on these numbers. Obviously, the market's a little jittery because we've been selling off going into the number. So all depends on what the headlines say. It's all headline stuff. Nobody interprets the deep stuff. It's just the headline, and the bots will buy or sell on the headline, and that's what's going to move it. So you'll know within 5 seconds of the number what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, I will just one other comment. If we do spike up, you do have that 12.59.75 area that was, may put a little bit of a lid on it. But as far as the numbers go, coming back down, if it's a bad number, there's just not a whole of a heck of a lot in here as far as support goes, if it does go into a sell-off mode. So we'll take a quick break here. We'll let the market settle out after the unemployment numbers, and we'll be back with our market movers.